You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey, welcome back to Cards to the Moon with myself, Clark, joined as always with Hyung and John this week for episode 16. And off the top today, I just want to quickly revisit what we talked about last week in one of our segments, which was, do we believe Vladimir Guerrero Jr., our homeboy, can overtake Shohei Ohtani as the American League MVP, who is, I think, still the odds-on favorite. Now, since that taping, Vladdy has been continuing to rip it up, and I believe he now leads in home runs and average while trailing in just RBIs. And I think he's in third place, but he's like 4 RBIs behind, so well within reach. So again, I want to ask you guys, does winning a triple crown change your thoughts of Vladdy being the MVP this year over Shohei? Because more and more people seem to think so, despite Shohei doing historic things this year, right? So what do you guys think?
Well, my thoughts have not changed. I believe Vladdy deserves a fair shake because, like I said, unless it's Ohtani's to have, like I said. But I feel like, and I know I'm probably going to get, shafted for this a bit, but it's different if Ohtani hit 50 home runs and then, struck out like maybe 200, But if Vladdy does win the Triple Crown, I think that's elite category as well. So it's at least a fair shake that we have to, see that it's real, because I personally can't see an MVP on a 500 team, hitting 250 with less than let's just say 50 home runs, right? So, which I know I'm gonna get shafted for and stuff, but I believe it deserves a fair shake at least, right? So especially the way Vladdy's finishing off, the way Toronto's coming into the playoffs. It's such an exciting young team. And what if, they go deep into the playoffs? Like this is all, I believe, you have to consider, and when you consider a most valuable player. And I know the argument on the other side is, look at, the wins above replacement, the WAR, right? Like Shohei has the pitching, so he's gonna have both sides going for him, right? And that ultimately kind of sees how much impact, I guess, you make, as a player, right? So I think those go hand in hand as well, and I think Ohtani has Vladdy a bit on that side, but I don't think it's a shoo-in like Vegas is saying. Like, I mean, I think they had him at like something ridiculous, Ohtani to win MVP earlier, but I think Vlad is definitely worth the conversation, right? So
for sure,
yeah. I think a lot of people's minds definitely changed this past week after Vladdy's performance. It is a bit of, what have you done for me recently sort of, feel where everyone kind of forgot a little bit about Shohei, and Vladdy's been all over the news. I really believe in order for Vladdy to have a shot, he has to win the Triple Crown. I think that's what it's going to take for him to have a chance at overtopping, because to have Shohei to see what he's done. So if he the great pitcher that he is, and a pitcher that wins the home run crown, like I don't know if anything can top that. So Vladdy has to take him in home runs. You can't give Shohei that title, and he's got to win the Triple Crown. And I think there could be a fair shake. I'm not gonna, I think last week I said for sure it's Shohei no matter what, but I don't know, maybe the little homer in me wants to give Vladdy that real shake that Hyung's talking about. But regardless, for me, he has to win the Triple Crown to have a chance.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there. Just to have that chance to win the AL MVP. And I really haven't changed my mind either. I think it's Shohei's to lose. And again, like I said in the intro, he's doing historic things right now. You can't forget that. And I think the more interesting question is in the future, I don't know if there's going to be another player like Shohei where he does supremely well on the mound and performs just as well at the plate. But how about if you had Shohei actually bat bat less than what he's doing now, but his pitching dominates, does that compensate for his batting stats and vice versa?
Like you mean like him being like a 20-game winner with like a Cy Young type season,
Right.
and then him peppering like 20, 25 home runs, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that is crazy too. Probably, hasn't
Yeah.
been done, as well, right?
That's impressive, right?
It's very impressive, yeah.
But I mean, but he's doing it on both ends, like at the highest level. So
Right.
that's why I think Shohei is still the favorite, in my opinion, to win the AL MVP.
I guess that is a kid thing to do, eh? When you pitch and hit, and you're the best at
Yeah.
both. It only happens in Little League, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
no, I get it. Like I get that. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All right. But you know what? At the same time, I say that if Vladdy ends up winning the AL MVP, like I wouldn't be shocked at all either.
Right.
Right.
Like good for him, So
Yeah.
And
Are you-
sorry, just throwing that out there. If you look at like price difference between like Shohei and
Yeah.
Vladdy, it is astronomical at prices with Vladdy still. Like I personally think Vladdy's still cheap comparatively to like a Shohei, right? And if we're going head to head with MVP, how would Vladdy's prices look? If he did win MVP or took Toronto deep into a playoff run, right? So I think Vladdy's cards are cheap. So I really like this marriage here because I think Vladdy could push through. I think there could be deals in the offseason coming up, these next few months, and a good opportunity to buy Vlad for sure.
yeah, no, totally agree. Because I have a Shohei Ohtani. I mentioned this on the show before, the Topps Chrome rookie auto, BGS 9.5, and I've got it for $550 before the season started. I think the last one sold for about $3,000.
That's crazy.
Just
What a
a
pickup.
couple weeks ago. But like I'm tempted to sell it, and I would rather sell it and reinvest that money in a really great Vladimir Guerrero
Yeah,
Jr. rookie
that's-
auto. You know what I mean?
That's not a bad play at all. So
I would love to
you'd
do that.
essentially be in like $550 for a monster Vlad card that you could kind of,
Yeah.
grow with, right? I love that move, 100%.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Damn.
I'll let you know when I do that. But but Johnny, you were going to say something?
No, I was just gonna say, are you guys buying any? Do you think there's opportunity to buy Ohtani or Vladdy right now?
I think the problem is Ohtani, I think, has way less cards or way less options, right? So I think with Vladdy being ahead a year in 2019, I think he had, and him being kind of like the upcoming prospect, the number one prospect, his flagship stuff, like if you see Vladdy's like Bowman Chrome, his Bowman Sterling, they're still dirt cheap.
Right,
But then, you look at Ohtani, you have his Topps and Topps Chrome and Topps Update, essentially. You don't have any other, his Bowman Chrome kind of is his first Chrome almost, where prices are ridiculous. And that's about it, right? There's not really anything after that compared to Vladdy, where they have like 5-6 different options. There's Topps Update, of Vladimir Guerrero Topps Update, and he gets no love in that set, right? So I think there's so much out there for Vlad as well, and I think that's causing a little bit of a supply demand monster for Ohtani for sure.
Right. Do you guys think? I was just looking at prices, and I know that most people wouldn't buy Vladdy or Ohtani right now. I don't think I would personally suggest anybody to go buy, because they're both, they're probably the only two players that went up during a crazy down market. I think it was like literally these two
for
guys
sure.
that went to the moon. But I was looking at Ohtani's like US1 and his top 700, like his SP and SSPs. I don't know, like, you could tell me otherwise, but I feel like they're really undervalued.
I told you, remember, like I think we were talking about Ohtani long time ago. Everybody's after Chrome versus paper. And I said, there's a lot of opportunity in the paper, even the parallels, that was when I believe the Independence Ohtani went for like $2,500, the PSA 10,
Right.
which is probably maybe a $10,000 card right now. But yeah, like, I think paper, there's still a lot of opportunity. Like you said, there's SPs that people, everybody's after the Chrome. They like the shiny stuff. And yeah, I think, but with that said, I think you're it's still probably not the right time to buy Ohtani, right? There's still a little hype baked into it, and I think prices have cooled down a little bit over the past couple months, and I project them to cool down, all through, November, December, when basketball starts getting hot. I think in the new year, January, February, that's when prices will pick up again for baseball. So I think the next, few months, it's a buying opportunity. This is the off season. I think there will be an off season as opposed to the last couple of years where it kind of, bled in because of the whole COVID thing. But I think, I think it's a buying opportunity for both Ohtani and Vlad in the off season where you could pick up kind of like a bigger card, right? So.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at the Topps Update US1 SP. That's the warm-up jersey. It's kind of like a bit of a close-up.
Right. Yeah.
That one just sold for just over 200. It's literally the same price as the base. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense, and that's a good buy.
Yeah, and then the top 700 SP, the one where he's kind of coming out of the batter's box and he's holding the bat in hand. Like that's going
I think
for
that's SSP, isn't it?
I think that one's SP, and then the one where he's actually batting and it looks like he did a pop up.
Oh, right.
That one's the update.
Yeah. Okay.
I really like that one. That one I think goes around 2K. I love that card.
That's a pretty sweet.
But the SP with the bat in hand, it looks like he's in batting practice. That one goes for like $500. Like, I think that's a great deal. It's really short printed.
100%.
I for $500, I would prefer that over spending a bit more and getting like a pink refractor or base or something like that, like a chrome base.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a good discussion. I think, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But, whoever wins, it's been really fun to watch this AL MVP race. I haven't been able to think of another race like this in a long time.
Right. Definitely brings joy back into baseball, right? That's what we kind of need.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, then let's move on now to hobby headlines. So now that the NFL season has started and the NBA and NHL season is about to both start next month, I want to get your thoughts on making in-season plays, like short-term flips. It's a way different game than flipping for the long term, where you buy a monster card and lock it up in a safe. But short-term flips are, I think, generally more risky, but it can be a lot of fun too. And if you're really good, you can build up your capital by flipping a lot of them and then investing it into a bigger card later on, right? So
absolutely.
I want to ask you, do you guys have any strategies when you look to make these short-term flips or plays within the season? Like, which kind of player do you like to target? When do you like to sell or trade? That kind of thing. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially in the younger rookies, because, people are ripping and they want a quick payday, right? So I think it's a perfect opportunity to, if you're kind of more, a gambler, to kind of, buy someone that you think that has potential, right? And this is a great time to buy numbered cards raw, for instance. I like to buy the really low numbered cards because people just want to, they rip, they just want to cash out because they're uncertain. They just spent money on a box. They rather just take the profit, and continue to rip. But then, you have, me waiting on the eBay corner, just waiting for these deals to be had, right? Like just buying the numbered cards. I like to buy the numbered cards. I think Select, personally, we always talk about Select, how underrated it is. I think long term, numbered cards go for really cheap at release, and I think they're great. Even short-term flip, because if, for instance, you go, like the NFL started, and guys like Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love, like guys that could potentially have that high volatility, are great opportunities for you to kind of, take that risk. If obviously you have to believe in that player, I encourage you to believe in that player. It helps, and that way you kind of like root for that player, right? You make sound investments and kind of say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go after this guy, but $200-$300 for a raw numbered card, in say like not the main prism, maybe it's a Select. I think it's a great play short term as season progress. Let's just say a guy like Jalen Hurts continues to wow people and stuff like that. I think it's an easy flip to make tons of money because, football season is something like people. You look at Mahomes's prices; they're insane. So the football market's hot, and I think there's a lot of opportunity. Basketball season's coming up. I think that's gonna be the time to buy right now in the off season still. And I think that December time period is when it starts to really amp up. So that's the time when you want to do the same strategy, right? So as people rip, you wait on the corner, on the eBay corner, and just constantly snipe the good cards, right? And the crazy thing, one thing I'll add with NFL is if you look at all the Facebook forums and all the pages, like it's 99% quarterbacks, right? Young quarterbacks. Right. That's the game. And if you're a football fan or a hobbyist, then there's great opportunities and running backs, for instance, other positions where I guess the investor really doesn't care too much, right? They're in it for the quarterbacks and the young quarterbacks, right? Because I believe it's the volatility issue as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think for me in general, when you're looking for the quick flip, I personally myself, I'm not a quick flipper, but a strategy that I would generally deploy is definitely purchasing in the off season. For football, especially like the weeks after, right immediately after the Super Bowl, prices are so cheap. Like if you do your homework and you have gut feelings about certain quarterbacks or certain players, I think those are the times to buy. Like one of our buddies, Jay, like he loaded up on Kyler Murray after the Super Bowl.
Nice move,
and the quick flip really is the handful of weeks leading up to the season, and then the first couple of weeks in the season. I think that's the time that you flip those cars that you bought in the off season. I think to try and purchase now, not to say you can't make money, but I would never, and I wouldn't really recommend anybody to be purchasing during the hype right now. Like we all saw what happened in week 1. Murray went off, Hurts went off, like Matt Stafford went off, like a bunch of people went off, and you're just so tempted, like,
what whatever. If he keeps on going off though?
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
Now prices are so cheap. That's my point.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of like what happened to Ohtani, right? Like people were selling off because he was 3Xing in the first handful of weeks. And next thing you know, he kept going and his car 10X'd by the, the third or fourth month, right? So it's not to say that if you buy now into the hype that you can't make money, but I think general rule of thumb, you don't buy these first couple of weeks in the season, no matter how tempted you are. I wouldn't say you buy into the hype. You wait. For baseball and like, for example, basketball, I think post All-Star break is a great time, like sort of that mid-season lull. Prices kind of come down. If you look at Ohtani, his hype was all the way to that home run derby. And immediately after the home run derby, I think everyone was expecting him to win, do magical things. He was great, but he didn't win. And then his prices like kind of flatlined. Like they stayed strong, but it wasn't like going in an upwards like rocket, right? So I think that in every league there's a midseason lull. And that's the time to buy back in if you wanted to try and quick flip. And I think that's where you try to guess or you try to project who is going to make playoffs, who might do some damage in the playoffs, and then that's another opportunity to quick flip. And then obviously immediately after the season ends, you buy again. So that would be my general, sort of rule of thumb strategy if you're going to try to do quick flips. But I mean, somebody who actually does quick flipping could probably tell us otherwise or tell us better.
No, but I mean, those are both good tips. And I think the general theme I see from both your answers is that when you're looking to do the quick flip, that it's generally more risky. So you don't want to invest a lot into one player. And so you look for players that have potential and it's also cheap where you can see them increasing 2, 3, 4, whatever X amount within the season.
Right. And I also see it as for instance, what I'm explaining is almost like day trading, day trading versus like investing in a long-term strategy, right? So it's like you're going to get your, if for the day traders out there in Forex, your pips, right? Or your pipettes, you're getting your profit, right? And that's what I think, I'm shooting for at least, where there's opportunity in a volatile span of 4 months. How can week one, let's just say, everybody's off Jalen Hurts right now, and he had an incredible game. All of a sudden, you see that spike go up. Next week, he has a great game against the 49ers, right? And then you'll see another spike up. And this is the volatility I want as a day trader or a flipper, right? That, that I could potentially, multiply my investment, right? And then from there, like we said, Clark, you have the opportunity to cash out and put it into more of a long-term card or a long-term strategy, or maybe it's the timing of, now is the off season for a different sport, and you see a great deal, right? So it's like you're cashing out, you're taking that profit and putting it into something that's going to grow, in the longer run, right? So,
and if you're quick flipping, don't forget also, I think football is unique because there's only one game per week, and when the schedule comes out, I think that's also a good opportunity. So whenever the schedule comes out, if you're looking at Kyler Murray, or I know a lot of people did this once Mac Jones came around and the news broke that he was making a team and he was going to win the starting job. They quickly looked at the schedule, and you can see the Patriots have a pretty favorable schedule in the first 4 weeks of the season. So don't underestimate looking at schedule and really starting to dig deeper into some of those things, because if you see an easy schedule, if you see an opportunity for Kyler Murray to go off and throw four touchdowns a game versus non-playoff potential teams in the first 4 weeks, that's an amazing opportunity to possibly quick flip, right? So don't forget, like, when you're looking at certain players, even if let's say you don't even like Jalen Hurts, but you're like, man, I'm looking at the schedule, he's got an easy 3-4 weeks where he can just pad stats, and that is that's your 4 week window to quick flip, right? So
yeah, to further your point, John, I like the football setting too from a seller standpoint. If you think about, if you're running auctions on eBay, for instance, you have a week, so it's like you could almost time the hype, right? Before a game, right? So it's like, whereas basketball and baseball, you can't really do it because they're playing so frequently, unless, like every 2-3 days in basketball, where you can't do a 2-3 day auction where you don't get enough eyes. Whereas you have a full week, to really, promote, that auction, right? Or it's like leading to that hype. People are starting to search. Before the game, I remember it was like a Luka playoffs, right? Like every Luka playoff game, it's like you see on the Facebook posts, like price only valid till tip off. It's like so it's one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah. No, great point.
My only real experience in short flipping is baseball, and you mentioned it, Hyung. It's harder to do in baseball, but one way you could do it, and it's kind of fun for me, is that I choose a guy that I think is going to win AL MVP or NL MVP based on how their teams are projected to do, and you just pick a variety of players, and I go after like their first Bowman Chrome autos, the ones that are fairly cheap and that no one's paying attention to.
For sure.
And then, of course, if they do perform well, that the way you think they're going to perform, and especially if you're a baseball fan, you kind of have this kind of, inside knowledge, hopefully, that will give you some kind of profit at the end of the season.
For sure.
Then it's really fun to do quick flips like that. So, for example, I last year, or what was the year before, I bought a Jose Abreu Bowman Chrome first auto. And no one, Abreu is like one of the most underrated players year after year.
No one's searching for his cards.
Yeah, no one's searching for his cards. And especially in the off season, they just like a pattern. It always dips. Yeah. And I think I got it for like $50-$60, something like ridiculous. A BGS 9.5.
Jeez.
Wow. And that one year that I bought it, he won the AL MVP. And then, that was an easy 3X, right? So,
nice.
So stuff like that. It's nothing crazy, but, if you like the sport and you like watching baseball, it's a fun way to do it. I did the same with Trey Turner. Same thing, like $100 for his first Bowman Chrome BGS 9.5 auto, and same thing. Like, Trey's going to steal his bases and he's going to be at the top of the lineup. And then the Dodgers trade really helped me. That made an easy sell afterwards too. So,
and I think that's why baseball guys like going into prospecting in the first Chrome in particular, because
for sure
it's like the minor league season still goes, and then that that opportunity to flip, right? Because you're kind of guessing, this guy's the next prospect, nobody knows about this guy, right? He signed for like $4 million, everybody's sleeping on him, and then a first Chrome refractor is going for like $100, $200, and then you're like, this is a $1,200 card. That's what happened to Anthony Volpe. Everybody's off they weren't off Anthony Volpe, but he got overshadowed by, Jason Dominguez and Bobby Witt Jr., who are the guys, and then it was kind of like Andy Page's and then Volpe, those secondary tier guys in 2020 Bowman. But someone like Volpe all of a sudden becomes, the next Jeter, they say, but like, or like, he's one of the top prospects in the Yankees organization now, over one minor league season because he's, hitting whatever 30 home runs or whatever he's hitting in minor leagues. All of a sudden, this guy's refractors, graded refractors are over $1,000, right? So, a card that like eight months ago there was zero interest in, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, one minor league season, and that's why I think there's a lot of opportunities. And I hear that a lot. It's like people from, I guess, the investment side of things, they're like, how can you invest in like people who've never played Major League Baseball before, right? But it all depends on, what your exit strategy is at the end of the day, right?
Sure,
no one said they're in it for 10 years or they think it's the next Mike Trout. They just see the opportunity.
Great point.
And with baseball prospects, like if you hit the right one, like Volpe, for instance, if there's a chance to cash out, you could easily cash out for a player that has more of a proven track record too, right?
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
play
absolutely.
that game too. All right, all great points. I think one thing about quick flips is that it is a lot more fun because you get to see the cash flow come in if you're doing it right. I guess it can be a lot of pain as well if you suck at it. So
I see a lot more steak dinners on Instagram. A lot more people are eating well because of their flips.
I think with that, we can move on to our next segment, On a Budget. We did this before where we give ourselves a budget of $100, $500, $1,000, and we pick a card to recommend as a good investment at each level. But today, we're going to do the high roller edition, where our new budget is $2,000, $5,000, and $10,000. All right. So this should be fun. Who wants to lead off with the $2,000 card?
I'll lead us off with 2,000 because I actually did this in life. Like this week, I gave myself a $2,000 budget. Yeah, in real life. Before we even like talked about this, I said I want to pick up a card for under $2,000, and the card that I kind of narrowed down to was again Trae Young. I really like. I really like his Select Concourse image. I think that's such an underrated card, and I got the White Prism for $1,500. I thought it was a decent deal.
Love White Prism.
Yeah, White Prism's beautiful. Luca's White Prism is like ridiculous. His PSA 10. Mm-hmm. This was a PSA 10 I grabbed. It's I believe it's pretty low pop. It's numbered obviously to 149, but I think that 2018 Concourse is great. And yeah, so I thought, you know what? I have the option. I think when season starts, I could, take profits there, or I could just lock it in the safe and just enjoy, being a fan of Trae Young, right? So that's my $2,000 card. I went under budget, at $1,500. So yeah. I expect that I could, one day that card's gonna, obviously be, hopefully more than what I paid for. So.
I like it. I like that choice.
All right, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to go with LeBron. And it's the 2003 LeBron Bazooka card number 276. I actually really like this card, and I've been looking at it for a while. Almost pulled the trigger, but didn't do it. But it's not the PSA 10; it's the SGC 10. So the PSA 10 goes for about $4,000. I think at its peak, when the card market was crazy, it's second week of February, it was going for like $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. It went crazy. But the PSA 10 goes for about $4,000. And the SGC 10 just ended an auction last week for around $1,300. I really like that price. I really like the card. You could potentially crack it out. SGC does a great job in grading. And I just generally like this card. I think it has high appeal. It has, the card looks great. I think it kind of appeals to sort of the people, the collectors who like Pokemon and Marvel. It's got a bit of that cartoony. It's the one where it's LeBron's photo with the bazooka characters in the background.
Yeah.
It's just got great eye appeal and something unique. It's a little bit different. Pop Report, like they did not print these a lot. I think they came on hobby boxes and in really, really short prints. So for that reason too, all of us here, we love our short prints and our numbered cards. I think I really like that one, the LeBron Bazooka number 276 in an SGC 10 for around, give or take, around $1,500.
Yeah, that's a deal.
Yeah,
I would keep it in the SGC 10, to be honest.
Me too. It looks great in the SGC 10.
Nothing wrong with SGC 10. Absolutely.
Yeah. We're all SGC fans.
I know.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you know what? If we don't know what the landscape is now, but if that becomes a card that, like, let's say somebody goes and picks that up tomorrow, and it's like a lock in the safe card, why not? Like, you don't know what SGC is going to be in 5, even in 2 years.
Absolutely,
we don't know.
yeah.
So, yeah,
it's a good play. I went with the 1992 Topps Gold of Shaquille O'Neal rookie card.
Wow.
And so I'm just looking through my watch list, my personal watch list, and I'm looking at the budget. And the reason why I like this card is Topps Gold, I think, is just a good set for both baseball and basketball. Like Derek Jeter has a Topps Gold rookie.
Yeah.
Love that card as
Classic.
well.
Yeah.
And I think Shaquille O'Neal has several rookies himself, but I like the Topps Gold set as well. And the PSA 10 is going for, or the last one sold for about $1,900, so just under the $2,000 budget.
Right.
But
good choice.
I mean, Shaquille is like, Shaquille is,
it's Shaq.
yeah, like he's culturally relevant.
Yeah.
He's going to be always in front of the camera. He loves it. And I think, he's a funny guy if you hear him on ESPN. And I think he's one of those guys that will just be hanging around. And then people are going to see, he was also an amazing basketball player.
Yeah.
And he has the championships. He always brags to Charles Barkley about that on his show.
Nice.
Hey,
But,
man, arguably in the top 10 and on a lot of people's lists.
For sure. And if you look at the Pop Report of a Topps Gold, is about 550 with about 4,000 graded. So
Nice.
Another reason why I like Topps Gold is it's a lot less printed than obviously the regular Topps paper that came out. So that's my choice for the $2,000 budget.
Nice.
Oh man,
I like it.
good one. I like it. I personally like the Topps Gold better than the Upper Deck with the 3 images. I have the Upper Deck one and it's coming back from grading, but I'd rather have the Topps Gold.
Yeah.
They're both good cards. Yeah.
They're both good. Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. There's just so many different options, like we went from modern to vintage or to semi-vintage, and like there's opportunities everywhere, right? So that's why it's like I always have to say, buy what you love. Don't follow, our words, my words. It's like do your research, buy what you love. You'll never go wrong, right? Especially when you're dropping this kind of money. So with that said, I'll go to the $5,000 budget card.
Okay.
And with that, I'm gonna kind of start looking more long term, where I see a lot of opportunity based on kind of like the development of, let's just say, the player. And for me, I think I said earlier, Vladdy was severely underpriced in my opinion on some of his cards. Back in 2016, when he was the number one prospect, when he was coming up, his prices were insane. Like that for Bowman Chromes, his colors were going big time. And since then, it kind of, obviously, since 2019, 2020, when he had the disappointing seasons, I guess disappointing from, the investment standpoint, where his cards kind of went backwards, his Bowman Chrome took a huge hit. And now, I look at his 2016 Bowman Chrome and I'm just shocked that they're still, in the prices they are. So with the $5,000 budget, I could actually pick up, I seen a BGS 1010 Bowman Chrome auto of Vlad Guerrero sell for under $5K, which I thought was a great deal and has massive future potential. And then also a True Gem Bowman Chrome refractor auto of the same 2016 Bowman Chrome. True Gem, yeah, exactly, for under $5,000, right? I think, look at, Mike Trout's cards. I think a 1010 refractor sold for, $50K or $60K last week on eBay, actually, on bids, which is nuts. But like I said, Vladdy is obviously is a lot younger. He's still 22 years old, and I think as he progresses his career, I think he's just showing his talent right now. I think we have many more years to have Vladdy, and I think 3-4 years down the road, that card's going to be absolutely huge.
Agreed. Yeah,
Right.
I can see that.
Good point. All right. So I'm going to go with, and keep in mind, this is not, as we get into 5,000, 10,000, this is not my budget area. These are cards that I would dream of and or am looking to trade up to. So some people may laugh and like, oh yeah, that's like chump change to me, but these are like high-end cards for me. But I'm going to go with obviously a little bit more of a safer play and not put, if I'm going to be putting $5,000 into a card, it's something that I lock up, and it's something that I feel has really minimal chance to go down more so than going up. So I'm actually going to go with Kevin Durant, Topps Chrome PSA 10. It goes for around $4,000 right now. I think his cards have come down quite a bit, especially during the downturn. And this is a great opportunity to get into a card of a present day player that, in my opinion, I don't personally like Kevin Durant, but I can't deny the fact that you're watching greatness. Like this guy, for me, he's going to go into the top 10 all-time NBA. I can't see how he couldn't. He's literally an unstoppable player. He's that good. So you have an opportunity to get into this kind of a card under $5,000. Pop count is just under PSA 10s are just under 1,000 for that Topps Chrome. I think at $4,000, it's a great buy if you're in that wheelhouse of budget. But yeah, Kevin Durant, Topps Chrome, rookie, PSA 10.
It's a great pick, because I have the PSA 9 Topps Chrome, which I got for $2,000, and now it's like about $1,000. So
right.
And I think the PSA 10 was also double what it is now. So yeah,
it was touching, I think 10, even 12,000. I remember it was touching 5 figures. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Discount for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, my card for the $5,000 budget is the 2008-09 Topps Chrome Refractor of that Kobe Bryant card where LeBron James is guarding Kobe.
Yeah, I knew you were going to put that. I knew that was going in somewhere.
I said that last week, and I'm looking just for the Topps Chrome, which is about $25,000 to $3,000.
Is the refractor only going for $5,000?
Yeah, it's sorry, this is BGS 9.5.
BGS 9.5. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the PSA 10, it's like 5 figures already for sure.
Right.
But even with the BGS 9.5, like Topps Chrome refractors are so rare. Like I don't know if people know how hard it is to get a Topps Chrome refractor.
Yes,
for sure. Like
very hard.
Like collectors that know say like get as many Topps Chrome refractors at good prices as you can, because they're hard to get, and if it's like even like for someone like D Wade, that's going to go up in value over the years.
Sure.
Yeah.
When people begin to realize, like, I think I was just looking it up actually, and the Kobe Bryant Topps Chrome refractor card I'm talking about, there were 200 cards submitted to PSA and BGS combined.
Wow.
Right? So
that's
not
super
a lot.
low pop, yeah.
It's super low pop, so not a lot out there. And 25 of them have been graded BGS 9.5 and 75 PSA 10. So yeah, that's why the value it is what it is. But if you want a nice, and the Topps Chrome refractors look really nice. Like the images just pop with that refractor look on those kind of Topps Chrome card, right? So one of those grail cards for me for sure.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, for those that never ripped Topps Finest or Topps Chrome back in the day, a hobby box with 24 packs comes with 2 refractors.
Right.
Yeah, so you're looking at like a 300 card set, maybe a 400 card set, and it comes with 2 refractors. When I was ripping Finest and Topps Chrome, especially Finest, like trying to get like Kobe's, it is impossible to get a Kobe refractor. Like even to get any player of any sort of name in a refractor form was so tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, that gives you some perspective on how tough it was to get these refractors.
Yeah, for sure. All right, $10,000.
Oh boy,
opening up the checkbook here. All right, and I'm gonna go. This is tough because this is where obviously you kind of say, okay, do I? There's a lot more risk in current players, right?
Right.
But me being a marketer, like I'm I'm totally aware of kind of like how important awareness and digital awareness and, social media and relevancy in society, is, and what it brings value in terms of supply and demand. And, like I said, this is kind of like the logic where people say, how can you invest $10,000 in a guy that's career hasn't unfolded, right? But like I said, we're not in it we haven't committed a life sentence to this, right? And you're just kind of, it could be a 2-year investment, 3-year investment where, you're just riding the wave and you truly believe in a player, right? So I'm going to go a little more modern. You guys are throwing a lot more, more vintage cards out there, but I'm going to go with back to 2016 again. And I'm going to go with Bowman Chrome Soto. I'm going to go color. There was a blue that went down to, Bowman Chrome Soto Auto, like a color blue. There's refractors and greens all available under 10K, which never happened a year ago. They were skyrocketed. And if you look at Soto's numbers, people expected him to, do what Acuna was doing earlier, what Tatis was doing earlier. But you look at Soto's numbers, and he's just walking in there like he's the man. Like, he's dominating as a hitter, constantly. He's hitting over 311 now. He's going to hit, 30, 35 home runs, 100 plus RBIs again, has a World Series, and he's 22 years old.
And there's no one left on that team.
Yeah, exactly.
To help him.
And for me, it's like he is the modern day, you could call him Ted Williams or, one of the best hitters that we're going to come across. You look at his on-base percentage, he's drawing, 120 plus walks a season, very, very good sign of a pure hitter, right? So for me, I think the Bowman Chrome is out there. And also his, I'm putting it out there because there was a 2018 Topps update, Independence Day, for sale on Facebook. And he was asking for 15K or best offer, which I thought the truer value was around that 10K mark because Soto's prices have dipped. So I really like that Independence Day card. I say any Soto rookie because supply-demand monster. That's why the cards are so expensive right now, is because he doesn't have any rookie cards. Vladdy was the big chase. Nobody really cared about Soto at the time, and you could look at his image. His 2016 Bowman Chrome image is terrible, right? But it's either that or his batting image of his US 300 HMT 55 Topps Chrome, right? So those are your pretty much two options. So I'm sticking with Soto because I think long term for 10K, that 10K could multiply. As long as Soto keeps doing Soto things, I think people are going to realize next year he's 23 years old, and you look at his career stats already, and they're patting up really, really, really nice. So Soto's under the radar in my opinion. He's one of the best hitters in baseball, and arguably one of the better talents that is going to lead this next generation, into success in terms of the baseball world.
Doesn't surprise me Hyung would choose modern cards for the $5,000-$10,000 tiers. The volatility.
I'm not saying I'm going to keep them.
All right. Nice. So I'm going to go. So, this is now we're talking upper echelon for me in terms of cards. So I got to choose something that personally that I would love. That's kind of like a PC. I'd want to choose something that obviously I'd like to look at, like an art piece, but at the same time holds value, that's popular and also rare. I don't, I kind of want all of the above at this point. So I'm actually going to go with, at the $10,000 mark, either a BGS 9 or a PSA 8 Kobe Flawless Relic Auto. Ooh. Any, it doesn't matter the year. They all kind of go in that sort of like $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 mark. Either BGS 9 or PSA 8. And I personally love, it's Kobe, one of my all-time favorite players, game worn jersey, autograph. I think there's tons and tons, especially now, Kobe collectors. And with, the unfortunate passing of Kobe, obviously people are really after those autographs. Like these autographs trade, when you talk about, something being liquid, even at this price point, I don't think you have to worry about a card like a Kobe auto. Like this thing would sell in an instant. Right. So I think it has all of the above. It's a PC for me. It's something that would be sort of like a grail status. At the same time, if I needed to pull out, if I needed the cash, it's right there for me. So yeah, Kobe Flawless, either a BGS 9 or a PSA 8 Relic Auto. I think that's my choice at that mark.
I like that pick too. Again, it doesn't surprise me you choose a Kobe card for your 10,000 tier. Yeah, Kobe autos are, yeah, like you said, they're pretty liquid, even at the price ranges there. Like you look at the shows and yeah, they're always buyers looking for Kobe autos.
Oh, totally. Looking to trade into it or get it. And the
And
funny
you
thing
ain't
about
gonna find those 10s either. Like those are so tough to grade.
Especially in
so
Flawless.
when you say your PSA 7 and 8s, those are standard, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Like they're very standard, yeah.
Yeah. When you get into like Jordan, LeBron, Kobe autos, number one, it's the auto. Like a lot of people at this point, they don't care. Even if it's like a PSA 6, it's all about the auto. And number two, it's not even really about the set. If the card visually looks great, it commands so much value. Like it could be something random like the, I think it's like the 2017 Panini Contenders or whatever. It's got this kind of like gold border with an image of Kobe and a secondary image and then his auto. Like a beautiful looking card. It's a really random set, and I think it was a redemption set, but it commands high dollar because people love the Kobe auto related to a card that looks beautiful, right? So these Kobe autos, it doesn't matter what set it comes from. It just has to be like a beautiful card and it'll command top dollar.
Nice.
Mine is at the $10,000 level, something less risky. And again, like John, it's more for the PC, so I would have to really love it. And this is a card I actually looked at when I got back into the hobby. The card is 1982 Topps Traded Cal Ripken Jr. rookie card.
Dang.
Classic. And when I saw how much a PSA 10 was going for when I got back into the hobby, even then it was kind of like, okay, my budget's like yours, John, when you start $100 or like not a lot to begin with. Now it's going for, I think the last one sold for about $6,000. I'm way under the $10,000 budget, but I think this is a card that will continue to grow. I don't know if people understand. He has one of the records that will never be broken. Do you know what I mean? Like
there's an iconic story behind that too, and I'm not going to share it. But yeah, it's regarding the record, and it's freaking crazy. But anyways, yes, the record is insane. But remember, there was a lights out incident. It involves that. I'll just leave it at that. You guys could do your digging. Okay.
Is it conspiracy or?
It probably is a conspiracy. Okay. I've heard it multiple times from different sources. So, but go on. Sorry, when you said 1982, I already knew that you're gonna say Cal Ripken.
Cal Ripken,
He's such a legend. He's 6'5" shortstop. It's crazy. He was so automatic. Yeah.
So he was amazing to watch, even as a Jays fan. Him being in the AL East with the Baltimore Orioles out of all teams. Absolutely. But Ripken was a joy to watch, and I think people are going to realize over time as more people get into the hobby, like he's one of the legends of the game, living legends right now. And the Topps Traded card is, I believe, in my opinion, the rookie card to get if you're a baseball card collector. So
iconic.
So and I looked at the pop reports under 400 with over 13,000, with almost 13,000 graded. It's hard to get into a gem mint condition, so that's why. For all those reasons, like for me, it's another grail card of mine. Yeah, 1982 Topps Traded Cal Ripken.
That seems cheap for Cal Ripken.
For sure, he's 6, a Hall of Famer. Like for me, it's like yeah, he's one of the greatest shortstops of all time, right? He's played his record. I don't think will ever be broken, ever. Like we're not in this day and age. Absolutely not.
And beyond the record, like he was an all-star. Like he
was an all-star. Yeah, exactly.
Legit stats, right? So
yeah,
insane. All right, we'll do this again. The high roller edition. It's kind of fun looking for these high price cards that we could that only Hyung can actually buy. But no.
Yeah. I don't even go this high, man. It's crazy. It's crazy if you think about it. Yeah. But man. Hobby logic, right?
Hobby logic.
But if you use your profits, though, it hurts less. Right, so if you made a flip and you made $3,000-$4,000, and then you're dumping another $3,000-$4,000 into a card, I think that's a sound investment.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of goes along with what we talked about in our first segment,
right?
About quick flips,
It goes hand in hand, yeah.
For sure. Let's move on then to our last segment today, which is pick one. And we're going to add that twist we did last week where instead of choosing two players to pit against each other and then debating which one we rather invest in, we're going to each offer 2 hot takes and we'll choose which one we think is more likely to happen. All right? So this is where we talked about the Vladdy over Shohei, one of Hyung's hot takes. And do you think it's more likely that Bryce Harper can catch up to Tatis? But anyway, that's where we got the Vladdy.
Yeah, now it's Vladdy. Okay, I'll go with this, and I'm gonna just give you a quick explanation why I did it, because in the forums, a lot of people talk about how Mike Trout, is injured now. He's in his next 10-year phase, and is he gonna put up the same numbers? He's injured right now. How serious is that injury? He's pretty much shut off until next year. So are Trout cards overpriced? I mean, like I said, a Bowman Chrome, 2009 Bowman Chrome, 1010 refractor sold for $60K, and obviously the Superfractor story sold for 3.96. His base, I think his BGS base is going for about 20 to 25K, right? So is Trout's card overpriced versus are Soto's cards underpriced? Because I believe that Soto is one of the greatest hitters in our generation, and he will continue to do it. And at 22 years old, with that supply-demand monster I was talking to you about how he has no cards, is he too underpriced, right? Is there a lot more opportunity? So that's why I kind of picked it, because I find Trout cards are overpriced. There's already a lot of Hall of Fame baked into it. But we're coming to a time where, look at what happened to Albert Pujols. If you look at his first 10 years versus his last 10 years, for instance, his split stats, who got the better end of the deal? Was it the Angels or the Cardinals, right? And, his Cardinal numbers are ridiculous, right? So it's like, are we entering that same thing with Trout? And don't get me wrong, I love Trout. I own a huge Trout myself, and obviously I don't think his cards are overpriced, but part of me, when you compare, his PSA 10s are going for 3,000 with a higher pop, is that sustainable in terms of price, or is Hall of Fame status already baked into that?
Right. Ooh.
This is a tough one.
Yeah. I'll go first. We've been screaming from the mountaintops that Soto is underpriced. But in this comparison, I'm actually going to go with Trout cards are underpriced. So they're not overpriced. So I'm going to pick the Trout side. Yeah. Because Soto, as great as I think we're all projecting Soto to be great, and he's obviously shown his greatness already, like playoff MVP and already winning a ring. But he's still young and anything can happen. I think Trout prices aren't overpriced. In my opinion, I think they're rightly priced. They're right on the dot, and they continue to float at the same levels, even though he's injured. Because, the Hall of Fame is baked in, but Trout is so unique, man. Like it's like we're watching Michael Jordan, right? Like I think the consensus is we're literally watching the greatest of all time. It's a literally history in the making in a player. And to have the greatest of all time and to watch him, and he's still continuing his career, I think his cards are rightly priced, and I think it's just going to continue to go, slowly go up. I don't really see room for it to tank or go down when you're watching the greatest of all time. So for me, I don't think they're overpriced. I think they're right priced, and I think, I'm going to go with the Trout side.
I think I changed my mind about 3 times during this discussion. So.
It's a good one, man. It's a good one.
Nice.
I wanted to hear John go first for that reason. But actually, I was leaning even before any of this discussion happened on the Trout side. And then Hyung started talking about Soto and his cards, and even in the previous segment. But I'm going to stick with my original thought. I also agree that I'm going to go with the Trout card side. And for me, the question is, do I think Trout can repeat his stats when he's healthy next year? And I don't have a lot of doubt that he wouldn't be able to. And the next question would be, do I think he's going to win a championship? And I know the Angels are I don't know what's wrong with that organization. They have so many great pieces, but yeah, they can't pull a better than 500 season. But I think Trout himself, whether it's with the Angels or not, I guess he signed a huge contract, so it's probably with the Angels. But I think they'll eventually build a team around him that can compete at a playoff level, and then at that point, I see Trout's cards going even higher than they are now. So
it could, yeah.
So Trout is a one of a kind player for sure, and like his Bowman first autos, like I could see those breaking records. I think that was one of the show ideas I had previously. We didn't do it, but can you think of any modern cards that can smash records? And I think Mike Trout's Bowman first auto can do that if everything breaks right for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. So for me, I want to buy more Trout. Okay. But it's so expensive. It's like, do you want to, spend $3,000 on a PSA 10 Trout update? It's beautiful, but there's a bunch out there, right?
Right.
So, and I do agree with everything. Like, as long as Mike Trout keeps on kind of, becoming the player he can be, his prices will go up. But I think there's just so much opportunity on Soto's cards right now. And John, you left this out there, but he also won a batting title. Everything you mentioned, all under the age of 22 years old, right? Yeah. So for me, it's like, okay, what happens if Soto keeps this up for 7 more years and catches up to the mid place where Trout was, right? So for me, I'm looking at it as, yes, now that blue refractor for 10K could potentially, what did a Trout blue go for, right? So that's where I'm looking at this perspective. So I'm going to say, Soto cards are underpriced. If that makes sense.
It's a very true statement. Very true statement.
Agreed.
Man,
Johnny, you want to go next?
That's a good one. Yeah, I'll go next. So I'm going to go with a couple of hot takes of traditionally franchises that toiled in the basement. We're going to go Cleveland Browns are your 2022 Super Bowl champs. Yikes. Or hot take number 2 is the New York Knicks are your 2022 NBA champs.
Yikes.
Which is more likely to happen.
What was my louder yikes?
I think your Knicks was.
I think the Knicks were louder.
Yeah. That for me, it's the Knicks. I was expecting them to do more in the offseason. I like Baker Mayfield. I think I think Cleveland has a better shot. Even though I believe they haven't won a championship in over 60, 70 years. As opposed to the Knicks, maybe it's not as long, but it's still up there. But I think I like Cleveland Browns odds at winning the Super Bowl over the Knicks. I just don't think the Knicks, they centered the team around R.J. Barrett, but there's really no offseason moves that kind of I guess are going to take them to that, that next level, right? So for me, I'm going Cleveland Browns.
All right.
I think it's an easy one for me too, John. It's Cleveland Browns are going to win the 20. It's more likely the Cleveland Browns are going to win the Super Bowl.
Wow. Okay.
I grew up loving the New York Knicks before Toronto had a franchise. So I have a pennant of the New York Knicks in my, in my room when I was growing up in middle school. And
wait, did you say you like Michael Jordan?
Patrick Ewing.
I was like, how can you be a Knicks fan when you like Michael Jordan? That doesn't make any sense.
Did I say that I like Michael Jordan? No, I don't think I did. No, man, going. Don't put words into my mouth. Come on. The Knicks, it's a management issue, isn't it? Even Knicks fans hate the management, the owners. When your own fan base has an issue with how their team is being run, unless something changes, and I don't know if it's going to change anytime soon, I don't think the Knicks have a shot. I think they're just going to blow their money on wrong players, and the team just won't be cohesive. Whereas the Browns, people are talking, believe it or not, people are talking oh, these guys can take the next step. And didn't they almost beat the KC Chiefs last year, in the playoffs? You have a couple more pieces now. Baker's getting more comfortable.
Yeah. Did the Browns beat the Chiefs last week? They almost won too,
Yeah,
right?
no, yeah, they almost won, but they lost. Yeah,
See?
Wow, guys, I wasn't expecting that. I'm going opposite with you guys.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm going New York Knicks. They're both horrible organizations. Number one, I'm not sure how I feel about Baker Mayfield yet. I know a lot of people are hyped around him having a bit of a bounce back. I'm not too sure. I don't have too much confidence in it. So that's number one. Number two, I think the Knicks are pretty deep. Like they got Kemba Walker, they have RJ, Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, Derrick Rose, and then they got a deep bench. So like for me in the NBA, like we saw this past year, like all the top teams had some major injuries. Like anything can happen. And I think truthfully within the two leagues, I really don't have that much confidence in the Cleveland Browns. And by the way, in their respective leagues, they're sort of ranked in the similar area, sort of like in that top 10 area. So they both have they both kind of have equal chance to become champions. But when I look at the Knicks and I look at the makeup of like the NBA and how people can get injured and anything can happen, I think the Knicks are built to be they got a pretty deep roster that can really help them in the playoffs. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, I'm picking the Knicks over the two.
I can't believe you're saying that either, but Kemba Walker, Derrick Rose, when they get injured, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I think I'm confident in RJ, our boy RJ. He can do it.
Okay, cool. So my pick one, hot takes edition, is Nikola Jokic repeats as MVP this season in the NBA, or Luka Doncic wins his first MVP this season.
Oh,
Luka is gonna win the MVP. Period. This is his year.
Okay.
He's gonna do it, and I will guarantee you, I will bet a Topps Chrome Louis Robert PSA 10. Jokic won't win.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
Jokic won't win?
He won't go
Okay.
back to back for sure. For me, Luka, I think Luka's gonna take it. This is his year. You know, he has a lot to prove now, and I'm on the hype train. I'm big on Luka. Yeah. So Luka's gonna win MVP. That's the only thing that's missing, right? He needs to, secure that to be considered kind of like in that same category,
Yeah.
right? So.
Did you think he had a great season this past season? Because I think he finished fifth in the MVP voting.
Right. No, I think the year before he had a better season, but
Right.
I hope Dallas can make some moves as well. Actually, they're talking about even Goran Dragic, which could be very, very interesting. And it could actually make sense with Toronto Raptors too as well, right? And it could be a win-win for both teams, and especially Dallas. And maybe that's what's missing with Luka is kind of having someone like Goran Dragic to kind of support him and bring the ball up and give him a little more options to score, right? So
Right.
That's what I'm hoping with Dallas this year and with Luka, and he wins his first MVP season this season. Yeah,
Could happen. Okay.
Damn. I love Luka. I want to say Luka so bad. But I'm gonna pick Jokic for back to back.
wow.
I think both are not too likely, but I just like Denver's makeup. I think they're going to be a big time contender with everybody coming back, especially Jamal Murray. And I think that's just going to help Jokic's numbers overall, his assists, rebounds. Like I think everything is just going to start flying off the handle again. And truth be told, we don't know which Porzingis is going to show up. And really, Dallas didn't do too much to really give Luka that help. Had they gone out and got Bradley Beal or something, they did something crazy. And I guess there's still time, but if I see something different about the Dallas Mavericks, this would be an easy Luka pick for me. But I like Denver. I think they're going to be one of the top contenders in the league. And I for that reason, I think if we're talking betting and percentages, I'm going to have to go with the higher percentage. It's going to be Jokic winning it back to back.
Okay. So I am the tiebreaker then. I think I am going to go with Jokic going back to back as well.
I knew it.
Because I think for the same reasons, pretty much what you said, the Nuggets are built for another deep playoff run, I believe. And Jamal Murray, he should be back, right?
Yeah.
For this season.
I don't know if he'll be back for the start though, but yeah, he'll be back
sometime this season. And Jokic is a stud. I don't know. Like if you look at, and the reason why I want to ask this question is that if you believe that Jokic is more likely in this hot takes edition to win MVP, now is a good time to get his like silver prisms. PSA 10 is about, it's not cheap. It's about $3,000 right now. You can get it for about $3K. But you look at other studs, their silver prisms are all 5 figures right now. Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, it's a good opportunity if you really believe in Jokic to get his cards.
Right.
Okay, that's a wrap for another episode of Cards to the Moon. Thanks to all our subscribers and followers again for listening. And we'd love to hear your feedback of the show and any ideas you want us to discuss in a future episode. Just check out the show notes on how you can connect with each of us. Till next week, take care. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.